my parents were actually Zoroastrians, and Zoroaster, the religion of Zoroaster started in Persia. But like our ancestors came as refugees to India, and so my parents naturally loved the Zoroastrian culture. My father was very rich, filthy rich, but because of karma, he lost all his wealth. And then he met a guru, Hindu guru. His name was Bhagwat. And Bhagwat said that don't worry about what you lost, I'm going to give you the treasures of Sai Baba. And when Bhagwat said that, it was Shirdi Sai Baba, the previous incarnation of Satya Sai Baba. And so he told him then not to worry, I'll teach you how to meditate. And then both of them, the guru and disciple, like I was only 5 years old when the guru would ask him to bring me with him. I had another brother, he said, bring your younger son with you. So I'd be sitting there, and then they'd be both going out of the body in ecstasy, and I'd be just sitting there for 45 minutes, and then I'd hear them snore, and I'd know that they're coming back to this plane. Like that, my father would take me to many saints. And some were so omniscient, if I was hungry, I'd be sitting there for a long time, and he said, oh, you're hungry. And they would just manifest a candy. And this was about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I wouldn't want to eat till the next day, evening supper. The candy was so powerful. And then, of course, I was standing while I was a young boy. I was a teenager, a rebel. I questioned everything, But so this guy was coming. We were standing at a bus stop, me and my dad. My father, he was very far away. He was about 5 minutes away, probably as far as that closest building. My father said, Jimmy, make sure that you touch the feet of this man. He's a saint. And I said, Dad, I don't even know him. Don't ask me to touch his feet. I don't want to touch his feet. He said, son, don't do that. Touch his feet. He's a revered man. So I didn't want to touch. Okay, so after about 4 or 5 minutes, when he came, first he looked at my father and he says, pointed to me and he says, he doesn't want to touch my feet, huh? His first marriage will be a disaster. And I'm just a teenager. What do I know about marriage? But he says, second marriage, he'll be very happy. He'll have 5 children. It came true. Second marriage was spiritual, truth, righteousness, peace, love, non-violence, what Sai Baba teaches. So it wasn't a curse, it was a blessing. Delusive marriage goes away, and the real marriage sticks. And suffering is a gift of God, Baba used to say that, and that stuck in me. So my father was also a hunter. And he used to hunt man-killing lions, tigers, crocodiles, pythons. But he never killed for pleasure. He killed only when the government called him to. And then his last hunt was a python, and the python fell on him, and he was in a coma for about 3 weeks. And he almost died, and he broke his ankle too because the python fell on him. But then suddenly, after 3 months, when he got back to consciousness, a yogi appeared at the door, and he said, you've done a lot of bad karma, killing so many animals. He says, yeah, but I didn't do that. I did it because I was told to. They were killing children and, animals, and so I only kill those that kill people. He says, still you make bad karma, but don't worry, you'll meet your guru. And this was Bhagwat who he met. And Bhagwat changed his life for the better. So even though I would close my eyes when I was a young boy. I would always close my eyes and I'd see Shirdi Baba. And I would just say, whenever I was in trouble, Shirdi Baba, help me, please. You have to help me pass this grade. And or this difficult situation. And I would cross it very easily without any trouble. So I was even though I was born Zoroastrian, Zoroaster is the form that you just saw earlier. But anytime I was in trouble, I called to Sai Baba. So one day we were walking on a main street in Pune, where I was living in India, and my father looked at a picture of Satya Sai Baba, in which he said, "I'm God, I've come to save the world." In Krishna incarnation, I picked only one mountain range. In this, I will pick 16 mountain ranges, and the world will know of my glory. Right away, my father was very attracted to it. So he came home, and then he read an article in the Illustrated Weekly of India in which it said Satya Sai Baba is the incarnation for this dark age. So he called me, he said, "Son, you gotta see Satya Sai Baba." I said, "Dad, first you told me Zoroaster was God." So I accepted Shirdi Baba. Now that I'm anchored in Shirdi Baba, why are you telling me that I should turn to Satya Sai Baba? He said, "Son, don't talk like that. This is the same energy has taken another form, that's all. You must see him." I said, "But I love Shirdi Baba." He says, you can continue to love him, but Satya Sai Baba is coming to our town, and you always said you want to go to Canada. I said, "Yes." He says, "Well, he's Shirdi Baba, and he's the reincarnation of Satya Sai Baba, so why don't you go and don't open your mouth, you just go there and he'll read your mind." I said, "Well, if he reads my mind, then I'll believe he's Shirdi Baba, because in my mind I'll just say, I want to go to Canada, can you help me?" And there was no way I could go to Canada because I didn't have any blood relatives, and I was just in school, like first year in college. So my father says, "Yeah, just go there." So I went there. It was about 9 o'clock in the morning, and the gates were closed. Thousands of people inside, too many people there, so they closed the gates. So I stood there and I mentally chanted. I said, "If you're really Shirdi Baba, you'll help me get in the compound. I want to meet you. I want to talk to you." I just said that at the speed of light. Suddenly, inwardly, I heard a thought become a word. It said, "Jump the gate." And I said, "Jump the gate? It's almost 11 feet, and there are spears on it. No way, I'm not jumping the gate. Isn't there a better way? I can just, you open the door and I come in." After 2-3 minutes, it says, "Jump the gate," again. And I said, "My God." And I was an athlete, so I used to run very good. So I just climbed up and I just jumped down. As I jumped down, the volunteers ran to catch me, because there you can't break the rules, eh? And I said, "Now, if you're Shirdi Baba, help me escape." And I outran the volunteers, and I mixed with the thousands of people, and I edged forward in the front row where people were chanting, and they were looking for me. And I pretended to be a devotee, And I said, "Now, if you really are Shirdi Baba, you'll come and talk to me." I put a challenge like that in ignorance, but I meant it. So suddenly the chanting stopped, and I couldn't believe it. It was as though I could hear the silence. The crowd stopped, and he had not come out yet. It was a palace, and he was supposed to come out of that gate. Everybody was focused there. And I was trembling. I said, "What am I scared about? I've not done anything." I was trembling. And I said, "I don't understand this." Then the gate opened. And I first time beheld the form of Satya Sai Baba. And I was just blown away. But still I said, "No, my loyalty is to Shirdi Baba. I'm not going to accept it." Like my ego was saying that at the speed of light again. And then Sai Baba was walking, and then suddenly he stood right in front of me. "Kya hai? What do you want?" And then he started scolding me in his language. And good thing I didn't know the language, right? Otherwise I'd know everything what he was saying. But he scolded me. So I even forgot my prayer, because my father said, "Don't open your mouth, just say, 'Can you help me? If you're Shirdi Baba, I want to go to Canada.'" So I forgot my prayer. I was scared. I was trembling. Then suddenly he started laughing like Krishna does, naughty Krishna. Like, so then I had the guts and the audacity. I got up and I said, "Can you read my mind?" And he started laughing again. And he said, "Go ahead." Acha means go ahead. So I just did that and I looked at my spiritual eye and I said, "I want to go to Canada. If you're really Shirdi Baba, you will help me." And I opened my eyes and he was blowing into laughter. And he was laughing like a child. And I said, "How can he be Baba? How can he be Shirdi Baba? How can he be spiritual? One time he's angry, one time he's laughing, now he's making fun of me, happening inside of me." And as I said, "Can you help me?" When I opened my eyes, he touched my hand and says, "You will go." And within a few years, I was shoveling snow in Canada. No way I could have come. You see, so that intensified my faith in Satya Sai Baba, that he's definitely Shirdi Baba come again. Now, when I came to Canada, I forgot him. Like the life of delusion is so powerful that I said, "Hey, I want to enjoy the world. It's so beautiful." Because in Canada, in India, I always said I want to wear a three-piece suit, drive a sports car, live in a tall building and eat ice cream and pie. That was my desire. And what happened was, after 5 years of sensory pleasures, just attending parties and all those things that we're trapped in, okay? And they're put before us so that we get into it and then we realize that is it really worth it? Because what had happened, I had an accident, had a very bad accident in those days, and I hurt my back, like I was doing weightlifting and bodybuilding, and the pain was unbearable, and the doctor says we can't do anything. And half my nights I was in pain, I couldn't sleep. So I would pray to Sai Baba, "Just take me, I don't want to live anymore. What good is it?" At that time I was married. By that time my wife would sleep on the bed, I would sleep on the floor with my feet on the bed. She did a lot for me. She's an angel, my ex-wife. I still love her, and maybe not as a husband, but as a devotee, as a spiritual partner, because she was really like a guru to me. We don't like it when our wives tell us, do this, do that, because they do it in anger. And we don't like anybody telling us in anger. But whatever, when I look back, she said, it carried weight. So, where was I?
Talking about back pain?
Yeah, back pain, yeah. So I was sleeping, and it was about 3 o'clock in the morning. I would lying on the floor with my feet up in pain, and Sai Baba, take me. And then as I said that, right away I felt Sai Baba was right there. And I looked, I said, "Sai Baba." And he smiled and he went like that. And then he went like that. And he threw something and it hit my knee and it fell down. Pitch dark, I can't see what. And he says, "Pick it up and eat it." And I said, "What, Sai Baba?" He said, "Pick it up and eat it." "Swami, what?" And then I just go like that and I pick up a piece and put it in my mouth. It was coconut. I was allergic to coconut before. I ate that and I never felt any cough or anything like that. And as I looked, I said, "Thank you, Baba." He was gone. So next morning, I was feeling better. My pain was less. And I told my wife about it. And I planned to go to India right away because if he can manifest like that, I want to be with him. But where I worked was Ford Motor Company. They didn't give me leave. They said, "No, right now you can't. We need you." So that night I saw Sai Baba. I was riding a bicycle and I saw Sai Baba. I just threw my bike and I touched his feet. And as I did that, he appeared on a mountaintop. So now I huff and I puff and I go up and I touch his feet and he's down here. So I come down, very difficult to come down, And then as I come, he's in a big pit and he's standing there. He said, "Don't come." And the vision was over. So I just wondered what he meant. And what he meant was, don't come now. This is not the time to visit me. Sure enough, next day I read in the papers, in India there was a cyclone where Sai Baba was in that area. So he stopped me from coming. Then I had a second vision in which I'm sitting in a place where there's a goddess playing a veena, instrument. And people are there, and suddenly Sai Baba is coming from there. And every cell in my body was standing up. And he was followed by a guy carrying a handkerchief. It was a volunteer. And suddenly he comes to me and he says, "Where are you from?" I said, I start crying. "Sai Baba, I'm from you. I'm from you." Sai Baba, "I know you're from me. But which country?" I said, "Oh, Canada. Will you see me, Baba?" He said, yes, I'll see you." And he said, very happy. And I was crying, and the volunteer said, "Don't worry, he'll see you." And the vision is gone. So I said, what is that about? That was 6 months before I visited him in his ashram. After the first visit was when I said, I want to go to Canada. That was in 1964. And the second visit would be 1979. Okay? In that time frame that there was so much delusion I went through. I was so attached to the world and the pleasures and everything. So he felt the time had come to, wake me up from my sleep of ignorance. So my sister had an accident and she died. And that immediately I realized that this was Sai Baba's call. And I promised him as I was crying that I should be ready for the next tragedy because I cannot bear it. I love my sister. And I intuitively knew. So I immediately cut down all my sensory pleasures. And I started turning to Sai Baba and started praying to him. And then my parents, because my sister died, they came to Canada to look after the children that were left by my sister. And so me and my father were walking down the street, and suddenly he said, "Are you still following Sai Baba?" I said, "No, Dad. I'm sorry, but the world is too alluring. I forgot him." As I said that, I saw a picture on a store, Sai Baba. So my father says, "Let's go in." We went in, it was a coin shop. And this guy was a devotee of Satya Sai Baba in Windsor, Ontario. And we said, "Are you a devotee of Sai Baba?" He says, "Well, yeah, I am." He says, where is there anything happening in Windsor?" He says, "Yeah, there's a place, there's a Dr. Singh, and he has bhajan, special chanting and meditation." So we took down the address and we went. And we saw Dr. Singh, and he talked about Sai Baba and his miracles, and that really touched me. I said, "Can you give me a book of Sai Baba?" And he gave me volume 2, Satya Sai Speaks. He said, "Volume 1 is out. You start here." That changed my life totally. I said, this is the word of God. Every word was God. So I started praying to Sai Baba, meditating. And so now, 6 months later, I'm supposed to, suddenly Dr. Singh says, "Why don't you come? I'm going to Sai Baba's ashram." I said, "I'd love to." And so I asked my wife, I said, "Can I go?" She said, "Yeah, absolutely, go." And then now I have to ask my work. First time they said no. And my boss said, "Absolutely. How much you want?" I said, "I want 3 months." 3 months? I said, "Yeah, 3 months." He says, "Jim, you're a good worker. I'll give you 3 months. But come back, after 3 months, don't say I want more." No, I said, "No." So actually, I went there and to India with Dr. Singh. And I'm sitting there, my real main official darshan of Sai Baba. As I'm sitting there, it was 3 o'clock in the 5 to 3. And then suddenly my eyes went to that goddess playing the veena. And I reminisced. I've seen her before. I've been here before. And oh my God, is Sai Baba gonna see me? Immediately that vision came. when he asked me, where are you from? So every cell again in my body was vibrating. And I started chanting, Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai Ram. Please come to me, come to me. Because I was sitting in a chair because I had a lot of pain. I had that accident, right? So I was sitting in a chair. So Sai Baba comes straight to me. He said, where are you from? I said, I'm from you. He said, I know, but which country? Exact word to word in the vision. I says, Canada, Swami, will you see me? He says, yes, I'll see you. And he blessed me. And then I'm crying, and the volunteer says, don't worry, he'll see you. I don't know whether it was the same volunteer, but the words were the same. Next day, he called us, and we had an interview with him for 1 hour and 45 minutes. Yeah, so what happened was I generally would be in pain. I wouldn't want to sit on the floor because of the back. So he closed the door, and I said, I'm not sitting on a chair. Before God, how can I sit on a chair? So I folded my chair, sat on the floor, and he saw that. Came straight to me, how's your health? I said, I'm okay. He said, are you mad? You have muscle spasms, you have back pain. I said, yes, I forgot, Swami. He's so beautiful, you forget all your pain. So he says, yeah, you have muscle spasms, and Swami cure you now. So he manifested sacred ash immediately, and he gave it to me, and he said, eat it, because he knows whatever I have, I share it with people. He said, no, this is for you. So I ate it. And then he went and talked to people, and then he came back, and he created this pendant. He said, I'm healing you now. Whenever you need me, call me. And you can see he's literally live there right now. So whenever I am in pain or anything, I turn to Sai Baba. And he said, I'm healing you now. There's no pain, okay? So thank you, Baba. And then as I was leaving, I said to him, and that's the picture that he signed for me, right in between. That's the second one from the right, with blessing Sai Baba. So now I started playing the game with him, I want to see if he reads my mind. I held the picture, and he's saying, what do you want? I didn't answer. Oh, you want the picture signed, huh? And then he goes like this to his students, this guy's crazy, pointing to me. And then he said, it's okay, he's crazy for God, it's okay. And he signed the picture. He signed the picture for me. And he said, I said to him, I saw you in 1964, and I made a big mistake. I said, I want to go to Canada. I should have asked for you. I said, can I stay with you? That's when he said, this guy is crazy. So I touched his feet, and then I left. Next darshan, which is in the afternoon, you see the monkey mind. The mind says, hey, maybe you still have the pain, okay? So I sat on a chair. The mind tricks you. I sat on a chair. Sai Baba's door opened, and the volunteer ran to me and said, Sai Baba said he healed you. You don't need a chair. I said, oh my God. He's coming from that. He did tell me. And after that, I said I never needed a chair. Until recently, like I had knee surgery. So that changed my whole life. And in that first trip, he materialized Vibhuti for me for 7 times. He created ash for me. And not only that, I'll go back to my notes now. Yeah, and Sai Baba starts coming in my dreams now as I came to Canada. And in one dream he came and he said, give me some food. So I gave him some spaghetti and some Indian dishes, and he said, I don't like this, and he didn't like the spaghetti. He ate the Indian food, and he says, very happy. He says, 24, 25, 26, 27, Jimmy, your future is very good. I didn't know what he meant by that, but 27 was when I got married, And as we all know, marriage is not a picnic, right? We are brought together by the divine will. Sometimes we owe something to each other, and so the egos get neutralized because it's never the same. When you're courting, it's like perfume and, roses. But after you settle down, and then reality hits you, and then all your faults and egos come out. So Sai Baba has often said, like, until you marry, a man remains a boy. Marriage is a spiritual platform, and man is selfish essentially. But when he marries and then he has responsibilities, then he sees his faults. Some change, some don't. But it is all divine will that helps a couple evolve together. So that's how he said 24, 25, 26, 27, your future is very good. And I am definitely, without my marriage, I would not be enjoying this divine pension right now. Oh yeah. So now when I was in Puttaparthi on one trip, in fact the first trip in 1979, after my first encounter with him in 1964, and I had a guaranteed interview with Sai Baba. The Zoroastrian religion I was born in, the people were there, and they said, tomorrow Sai Baba has called our whole group, so don't go anywhere, meet me here. And what happened was, Dr. Singh, the eve of the interview, tells me, I need you to come with me to Bangalore. I want to buy some wood for some construction in my room, so I want your help. And I said, when? He says, tomorrow. I said, can we go tonight? He said, no, tomorrow. He insisted, and I came with him. And I ruminated as to what Baba would say. Baba would always say, duty is God. See, he's the president of all Canada. I came with him. He introduced me to Baba. How can I say no to him? But yet, I have an interview with Sai Baba, guaranteed. Now, I didn't realize when he gave me the pendant that silver and me, we don't mix. Even though this is silver, I got a silver chain so that, I should honor that with a silver chain. But my whole chain and my pendant became black. So in the afternoon when Sai Baba came, I said, Sai Baba, look at the pendant you gave, became all black. I shouted when he was there. He said, don't worry, I'll take care of him. He said, I'll take care of it. And that night, Dr. Singh said, we have to go tomorrow. I said, oh my God, am I doing the right thing? If this is my duty to help him, I'm going to give up the interview. So I decided to go with him. We finished buying the wood and everything, and I thought probably we'll come down. He might give us the interview in the afternoon. But he said, no, I'm very tired, we'll go late night. So I said, oh my God. That night I was sleeping in a separate room. The couple was in another hotel room, I was in another. And my pendant was black, and I was crying. I said, Sai Baba, did I do the right thing? I gave up an interview with you, and look, you said you'd take care of this, and look, now it's still black. And I'm here and I missed the interview. And I'm crying like that. I cried myself to sleep. They say white men cannot jump. You know that movie?
Yeah.
And men don't cry, it's a myth.
Yeah.
White men can jump, and you've seen many basketball players, and men cry because it's an emotion.
Mm-hmm.
So I was crying. And when I got up in the morning, I always kissed my pendant, and it was shining like brand new. And I knew Sai Baba was with me, and he was happy with me. So I went back to Puttaparthi, and the people in my group, they were chiding me, they were scolding me. Sai Baba was looking for you. They said, there's another guy here, he's missing. He said, no, Baba. And then they realized, oh, Jimmy's not here. Yes, there's one guy missing, and Swami was looking for you in the interview. He gave us pendants and he gave us, japamalas, beads, and Swami gave rings and watches, and he was looking for you. Where did you go? I said, I went shopping. He said, are you mad? You went shopping? And I didn't want to argue because they wouldn't understand. So the whole day they tore me to pieces. But I knew Baba would be happy. So next day Darshan Baba comes. And I heard that he was flying to Hyderabad. He was taking a trip, Sai Baba. So I said, this is my chance to fly with him. So when he came, in my language, in great speed, I said, so nobody listens, Because those guys, they were already scolding me. So I asked in my language, Sai Baba, you're going to Hyderabad, can I come with you in the plane? So he looks at me, and in my language he says, Haji Awo, means come with me. That's a signal that I'm going. I packed my bags, and immediately I took a cab and I went to Bangalore airport, which is 110 kilometers or 20 miles. And I went there, I reached probably 8 o'clock. The flight is in the morning, 9 o'clock, next day. So then suddenly I saw the airport manager. I said, I have to tell him I want to sit next to Sai Baba. He was a Christian guy, Mr. John. So I said, Mr. John, can I come in? He said, yeah. I said, I want to fly with God. Can you help me? He said, what did you say? I said, I want to fly with Sai Baba. Oh yeah, but what did you say before that? I said, I want to fly with Sai Baba. No, you said something else. I said, I want to fly with God. I always wanted to know about Sai Baba. If you can tell me about Sai Baba, I promise you I'll make you sit next to him. I said, let's go. And we sat in the chair, He was sitting in his airport manager's chair. I'm sitting here talking about Sai Baba, my experiences. He was so thrilled. But it was not a bed of roses. When I finished, he said, oh, no problem. Just go to the counter and tell him you want to sit with Sai Baba. I said, but that's not going to help me. He's not going to listen to me. I can't do anything else. You took 1 hour of my time. You said you'd let me sit next to him. Just tell the guy you want to sit now. Whole night I stood in the line. I would sit on the bars, and then the Americans and Canadians were coming. They heard Sai Baba was flying. But I was the first guy because I had come, remember, 14 hours before the flight. More, 15 hours. So when the window opened, I was half asleep. And he says, okay, where do you want to sit? I said, I want to sit next to Sai Baba. He said, there's no Sai Baba here. I said, wait a minute, Sai Baba is flying. He said, I told you there's no Sai Baba. Who do you want? Where do you want to sit? Okay, how about Jogan Rao? That was his right-hand man there. Kutum Rao. He said, no, where do you want to sit? So I just, in the front, he sits in the front, I put it like that. Right here. So he gave me a ticket. Sai Baba's here, I'm sitting next to him. When the actual thing. Now what happened is, our luggage was boarded in the plane, and all the Americans, Westerners and Indians had already boarded the flight. I wouldn't board. I said, I'm not going till Sai Baba goes up. How can I go before him? So those people would say, are you mad? He says, his car comes straight to the airport, then you'll miss the flight. I said, I don't care. I was adamant. So I waited, and then Sai Baba's car came straight to and I ran, and the police ran and arrested me. They thought I was, not supposed to cross the airport like that. Then I said, wait a minute, I have a boarding card. So then why didn't you go earlier? I said, I cannot go before my guru. He said, oh, Sai Baba, okay. So they escorted me. But still I wouldn't go in. He came, he looked angrily at me like that, and then he climbed up, and I'm right behind him. And then he stops, and all the pilots, the stewardesses, they bow down to him, and he materializes sacred ash to them, and they receive him just like a king of kings. And then when it is all done, he turns around, looks at me and says, "Sit down." Angrily. Okay, now mind you, I hadn't eaten anything since one day before in Puttaparthi. I was hungry. So now the stewardess closes the door and we are ready for takeoff. And then, suddenly time for breakfast. And my mouth is watering. And I said, I haven't eaten. I would have fainted if I didn't get food. But then the stewardess goes to Sai Baba first. I said, "Sir, what can I get for you?" He looks at me and he tells the stewardess, he doesn't eat anything. So then I said, how can I eat if he's not eating? I revere him, I will starve. And he saw that. And then look at the test. The stewardess brings a full plate of meal for the guy next to me, just like when a dog sees a man eat, how he looks. And I was looking at him like that because everything was mouth-watering. And I looked at Baba and he looked at me, but I said, I'm not going to eat. I didn't eat throughout the flight and he was very happy. So then he called me, "Come here." And he said, "Are you related to that lady in Puttaparthi? The bakery? She was the same Zoroastrian." I said, "Sai Baba, just through the heart." "Oh, Sai family?" I said, "Yes." He hits me, he says, "Go back." I said, "Sai Baba, can I kiss your feet?" He said, yeah, go ahead. And I hugged it. I wish the flight was like 24 hours, but it was only 1 hour less. And then I said, "I have something to tell you. Can I tell you?" He says, "Yes." I said, "I've been practicing something in Telugu, your language. Can I say it?" "Of course." And I said, I joined my hands and I said, "Sai Baba, ninnu nenu premastunnanu." Means, Sai Baba, I love you very much. We are 20, 30,000 feet up in the sky. He unbuckles his seat belt and he gets up and he tells everybody in a 360-degree angle, he turns completely. He knows my language. He knows my language. He was so happy that I spoke only one sentence. Then I said, if he's happy, then I can learn to chant in his language. And I learned many chants I sing to please him, you see. So now we're flying again. Then one guy, he was swearing bad words at Sai Baba. He got up and he said, "I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're a guru or God or whatever. I'm getting down first." So my ego went out of proportion. I got up, I said, "Don't you dare talk to him like that." And Sai Baba said, and I said, "But you see, he could just with one blink of an eye, he can throw him out of the plane, but he didn't do that, you see. And because he saw himself suffering in that guy. So he was telling me not to do anything. But when the plane stopped, the force of the devotee's love threw that guy in the tail section. He was just literally thrown out. I don't know what, that was a miracle because he was right before Sai Baba. He wanted to get down first. When the plane stopped, he was thrown in the tail section. He was getting up with his hair all messed up and nobody knew why and how. Now, before that, I had written a letter to Sai Baba. I said, "Sai Baba, I don't know anybody in Hyderabad. Can you help me? I don't know where to go." Because all the Westerners, they would pay like 1,400 rupees a night for a room, And I was there to stay for 3 months, so I have to save my money, right? But I didn't know where to stay, so Sai Baba said, "Don't worry, I'll take care of you." But when the plane landed and Sai Baba went, and the airport was empty. And I said, "I thought you said you'd help me. Where can I go?" As soon as I said that, one lady from behind, she says, "Are you a devotee of Satya Sai Baba?" I said, "No, ma'am, I'm trying to be a devotee. It's not easy to be a devotee." She liked my answer. She said, I saw you talking to Sai Baba in the plane. "Do you have any place to stay?" I said, "No." She says, "I have 2 bungalows, okay? If you don't do any hanky-panky, you can stay in one bungalow and I'll stay in the other. I said, no hanky-panky, man. And we took a cab like, it was a cycle rickshaw. That's a cab. And we went to that bungalow, and my God, I had a whole villa to myself. I was getting 3 meals, rides to Sai Baba's darshans, and also they gave me on that special Yugadi day, kurta and pajama, shirt and pant, white. So you see, when he says, I take care of you, I take care of you. Now, first darshan, I go in Hyderabad, another city. Sai Baba is supposed to come out at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'm sitting there, and I said, I had the first row, so I put my mat there, I was sitting, I was in ecstasy, cloud 9. I said, Sai Baba, thank you for bringing me. I sat in the plane with him, came, now I've got the first row. But look how he tests. Suddenly I had an urge to go to the bathroom. I said, no, I'm not going. I don't want to miss this chance. But it was unbearable. Number one, I had to go. So I told the volunteer, please, can you watch? I have to just go. He said, don't worry, just come back. I'll be here, I know you. I went, and when I came back, the volunteer had changed. So I said, sir, you told me I could go back to him. Get out of here. You're lying. I never told you that. And he threw me out, and the gates were locked. Sai Baba started to come, and I'm crying. I'm outside. Thousands are inside. I have the first row, but this guy doesn't trust me. And I'm crying, and I'm saying, Sai Baba, Sai Baba. You know what Sai Baba did? He climbed up the wall, and he climbed a thin ledge, and he stood on that ledge and waved to us. Baba, 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 Baba. I'm crying, and he's just blessing us. Then he got down just like an acrobat. Can you stand on a little bar? No. He stood there and waved to us, those who were trapped out. He knew I was stuck outside. He felt my pain. Then next day I said, I have to give this letter to Sai Baba. I get a first row again. Somehow, And I get a first row, and Sai Baba comes so close to taking my letter. And then some people push, and Baba's falling on me. And the police come and they start hitting, and I could see the stick. And Baba says, don't hit him, don't hit him. He wanted to protect me. It's not his fault. But Baba got angry, and he says, animals, animals, and he canceled the darshan. But this is all his play. And then, so the darshan was cancelled, and everybody was asked to leave. They said, Baba is leaving. And he did leave in his car. But I said, I'm not leaving. I'll wait till he takes my letter. The whole area was empty. There was nobody. So from 5 o'clock to 10 o'clock, I waited for him to come. And the volunteers, there were 2. And they said, look, don't you dare come near Baba. I said, look, as long as you don't touch me, that's going to be okay. Don't come between me and Baba. If he calls me, I'll go. But I won't go near him. So they were angry, that I was still there. I said, it doesn't matter. He has to take my letter. So then the car stops. Sai Baba gets down. He looks at me angrily like that. And I give my letter. He doesn't take it. He climbs up about 20 steps. And he turns around. I sent him a message from here. You know that I waited 5 hours for you. You know that the guy pushed me. It was not my fault. Why would you not understand my pain? I want you to take my letter. Why are you ignoring me? And he came down 20 steps and said, give me the letter. And he took it. And he went up. I was so happy. And the volunteers started touching my feet. And you must be somebody special. Sorry, we were mean to you. I hugged them and I cried, no. You and I are one, I said. Baba was very happy. And then there was a Swedish guy next day. The Swedish guy, very handsome guy, blonde-haired guy, sitting next to me. And he looked very depressed. It was early morning, about 5 o'clock. We were sitting waiting for Baba to come. Baba comes at 7. We are there 5 o'clock. And I said, you're unhappy. He says, yeah, Sai Baba won't even look at me. I'm leaving, and I wanted to have his darshan. I wanted to talk to him. I said, don't worry, he'll see you today and he'll give me sacred ash. He said, what? How do you know he'll give you? Well, I don't feel good. He feels my pain. He will give me and he'll talk to you. So he said, come on now. You know, he knew English, but it was broken English. But he said, no, you not say it's true. I said, you just watch. 7 o'clock, the music starts, Baba comes. He's sitting first, right? And I have the pictures, I'll show you. And first he comes to him and he says, how are you? The guy was shocked. When are you leaving? He said, Baba, I'm leaving tomorrow. Will you see me? He says, yes, I'll see you, don't worry. He was shocked. And then he looks at me and he creates vibhuti. I have that picture too. And I grabbed it. And the guy said, who are you? I said, hey, you just feel it, that he's going to come to you. And then, you know, so he says, can you stay with me? And I have a big hotel, I'm just alone. So I said, but I'm staying with this lady. But then somehow that lady said, no problem. And I stayed with him. Just one night, because next day he went and then I went back. And then my in-laws had sent a telegram, fake telegram. Told my father, tell him to come back. Otherwise, we tell him he's facing a divorce from his wife. He's gone such a long time. But my wife knew that I was going for long, but they were just meddling. And they sent a fake telegram the telegram came to my uncle in Bombay, which is quite a ways. And they came on a motorcycle and a sidecar. And they grabbed me there in the ashram. He says, you're coming with us. Your wife is very sick. And I said, I'm not going anywhere without asking Sai Baba. So I took the telegram and I said, you just wait outside or you can stay inside, but I can't leave until he tells me. Sai Baba came, I showed the telegram and said, wife, very happy, come right away back to Canada. He looked at me, smiled and blessed, and he went. And I said, but what does that mean? So then after the darshan, the volunteer came running to me and he says, oh, why are you worried? What is in the telegram? I says, well, my wife is very sick. Don't worry, he blessed me, your wife will be okay. So I came and I told my relatives, you can go back. He said, we came on the motorcycle all the way, almost 400 kilometers, or maybe more or less, I don't know. And you want us to go away? Yeah, Baba said she'll be okay. It was a fake telegram. So then they went back, they were disappointed, and I said, I'm not going. And I stayed another month and a half with Sai Baba. And this is what happens, like God will test you to see if you're attached. And intuitively I knew, even if I go, if it's my wife's destiny to go, I can't stop, you see. But here I'm with him. If I hang on to his feet, he might change her destiny and time, because he has done that.
Interesting. When did you make all these notes?
In there only. Whenever it happens, I write.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You've been making it the whole time?
Yeah. And one time I came to Sai Baba's ashram. I wanted to stay 4 months now. I had the guts to stay 4 months. The first darshan, he comes to me and he says, when are you leaving? I said, I just came. He said, leave tomorrow. I said, Sai Baba, leave tomorrow. And I go back to my room and I'm crying. How could you be so stone-hearted? You're omniscient. You're an ocean of compassion. You don't want to hurt anybody. Now you're telling me to go. Is that fair, Sai Baba? But I knew that if I were to disobey him, he'd get me thrown out of the ashram. So I made up my mind, I'll leave. Packed my bag, they were already packed. And so in those days we could bring our luggage right to the darshan line where he would give the audience, not now. So I had a big garland. He came and I said, Sai Baba, this is for you. He put it and he took it out and gave it back to me. I said, Sai Baba, I'm leaving, not because I want to, but I don't want to displease you, so I'm leaving. He said, no, wait, wait, wait. And he kept me throughout 3.5, 4 months, whatever. Never let me go. So when you disobey him, you'll be goner. But when you listen to him and do what he says, he will take you to spiritual heights, you know. Once I bought a very big picture, 5,000 rupees of Sai Baba. In that he looked like Muhammad Ali the Great, you know. I like that picture, you know, and he says, you know, I sting like a bee, you know.
Yeah.
So he looked like that. So I bought a picture like that, so it was very expensive. I had not paid him, but I said, I'll pay you, I'll go to the bank. But the photographer gave it to me because he knew me. I'm carrying it, and Baba called me for an interview. And he said, you're wasting my money. And I said, how do you mean? That picture, it's very expensive. You got a lot of pictures. I'm in your heart. No more pictures. I said, but Baba, I like this picture. You pose so good. You look so handsome. Return it. I said, but the photographer won't take it. Tell him I said so. Darshan is over and the photographer is coming from there. I said, I can't take this. Oh, no, I can't take it. I have to ask my wife. Wait a minute. Sai Baba just told me you'll take it. Yeah, okay. If he said so, I'll take it. And he took back the picture. Now, in the afternoon, what had happened was, I had gone to the ashram to eat some food. And they were serving food in the pictures of Baba, you know, old magazines and all over Baba's pictures were there and people were stepping on it. I didn't like it. So I went in there and I told the coordinator, I said, are you mad? People are walking all over the pictures of Sai Baba. You can't do it in this. So he got 10 times more mad and he threw me out. Get out of here. You're trying to tell us what to do. Get out. And I said, Sai Baba, how can you have people like this in the ashram? They're supposed to be in love. So he gives me another interview. And he says, God is not a picture. You can treat the picture as God. But I said, they're walking all over your picture. God is not a picture. You can treat the picture as God. Don't worry about what he said. But he felt my pain when the guy heard me, you see. This is very important. Now, this is an experience I'm going to tell you which will really touch the reality of Satya Sai Baba. He called me in an interview once and he said, go back, do your duty. And I said, I don't want to go back, Sai Baba, I came to stay with you. Go back, I'll be with you, in you, around you, I'll protect you. I said, but you will protect me, but the delusions in Canada are terrible. I need your help, I need your grace. So he got up from his chair. Take my grace, he went like that. I said, no, Baba, you got to protect me. Its delusion is very powerful. He said, go, I'll take care of you. So I go back. I didn't want to go back, but I came back. Only about 29, 30 hours after the interview, I was in Toronto land. Somehow I got a flight. Not my flight, but he said, go means you get everything done. You know, ordinarily you can get a ticket, you can go in there. He says so, and the tickets are done, ready. I just go there and I said, I want to fly now. Oh yeah, no problem. I land in my city, Windsor, and look at the bad news. On top of my front door, my wife had written a note. Looks like you're very happy with Sai Baba. Go back, you don't belong to the civilization. I'm leaving you, I'm going to my mother's home. And I was so furious. How could you do that? You said you'd protect me, you'd be with me, in me, around me. So I went up, climbed the steps, went to the first floor, threw my bags, I had my coat jacket. I just slept and I was crying. I said, you're supposed to be truth. Your name is Satya. How can you be truth? Where are you? And it was 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The sun was shining through the window. And I was crying, and then suddenly the sunlight changed into a golden ball of fire. And inside was Satya Sai Baba alive. And I said, Baba, now I'm getting up. So if I'm getting up, it's not a dream, it's not an illusion, it's not a hallucination, because he's there. And the ball of light is just like a snowball, like filled with light and electricity, and the ball of fire turns around like a tire, but Sai Baba is still there. And now, just like a snowball gathering speed and momentum and snow, the ball of fire is gaining fire, and it's coming to me, and it's coming, and it's coming, and Sai Baba, you're in my heart, and the fire all around me, but it didn't burn me. And I was shocked, and I knew that this was not just a... So immediately he guided me to go back to Toronto, bring your wife. So I went immediately. I was tired, but I drove to Toronto. And she opened the door and she hugged me. I said, this is a miracle. I thought you wrote a letter. She says, yeah, I wrote a letter, but I miss you. And she was pregnant with her first child. And I said, let's go. She says, okay. And then she came with me. And so when we went back to Puttaparthi, Sai Baba, that's when he told me about the picture. He said, you're wasting money. I'm in your heart. And he looked at me like that. You don't need pictures, he said. I'm in your heart. He says, you don't need pictures to worship me. You see, that is the power of an incarnation.
Wow.
Now, though my wife believed in Baba, but she was half-hearted.
Mm-hmm.
She says one angrily to me, because her parents were already anti, okay? And, but they were good parents. I love my in-laws. Even now I worship them. Because of them I'm enjoying this pension, And because of the script that God wrote, that my wife left, that I can dedicate my life just to my aspirations to evolve to a higher state of consciousness. When you're married, sometimes it's difficult, right? But here now you have no son, no daughter, no mother, no father, no wife. So you can spend your time in spiritual exercises, meditation, and like energization, and a Hong Sau, and the Om technique, and the Kriya Yoga that Yogananda teaches. So my wife was saying, how come everybody is going to India? They can afford it, we can't afford it. And how come Baba doesn't come in my dreams? And I told her, look, he will come if you call out to him. She said, oh, I called, but he doesn't answer. I said, okay, take this picture, put it under your pillow, and just make Sai Baba your last thought. So she started chanting, and she's a very spiritual woman, very pure at heart. All the yoga masters, Yogacharya loves my wife, Zareen. And Sai Baba, he would give his hands to her, and she would kiss it for 5-7 minutes while he talked to me. So she's an evolved being. She has taken Kriya Yoga. She was initiated by Yogacharya into Kriya Yoga by Bhaktananda Ji too. So what happened? How come we are not going to India? Now, this is a miracle. You can see what happens later. I said, pray to Baba. And her last thought was Baba. In the middle of the night at 2:30 or so, she got up. Baba was here. Baba was here. I said, can you tell me in the morning? It's 2:20. I have to go to work. She said, no, you must write down everything. I saw Baba first, Baba's full body and then his head, and he was smiling, and he said, at the end of the month, your husband will get a reward from Ford Motor Company, and you'll come to the Third World Conference. So I wrote everything down. I said, my God, Third World Conference is just in less than a month. I wrote it down, and in the morning we packed our bags. I applied for leave of absence, and I got it, leave of absence. But it was like 4th of October, and 4th of November is like the conference, something like that starts. So we still got the tickets and everything, and we didn't have the money. But Sai Baba had said that, at the end of the month, you'll get a reward and you'll come to the Third World Conference. So she was very excited. She had faith in Baba, you see. But it was lukewarm, doubt, and you can't blame her. Like I was like that too. When I doubted him that he's not Shirdi Baba. Mm-hmm. So it was the 4th of October, so I go to work, and of course I didn't get a reward that day. He said end of the month, so it'll be like 31st of October. So it's 18th of October, I'd call my wife. She said, did you get the reward? No. It was just a dream. I said, no, it was not dreams. Baba says dreams are real. It's not because you want, it's because I want to come in your dream. 30th of October, last day, 31st, next day. I said, yeah, but he said end of October, 31st of October. 12 o'clock lunch, I called. Did you get the reward? No. I don't believe that. That was just a dream. I said, yeah, but it's not the end of the day. I'm still here. I still could get it. So 4 o'clock, the bell rings. No reward. So I go to wash my hands in this basin there, and I'm crying. Sai Baba, this was one time you had a chance to bring my wife on board. She's such a good person. If she becomes your devotee, it'll make my life so easy. But does he want to make our lives easy? No, because suffering is a gift of God. It destroys our attachments and everything. So 4 o'clock, and I'm washing, and then suddenly somebody touches me in the shoulder. I turn around. It was my big boss. And I said, is he going to fire me? But I stopped on time. Why is he? You better come in my office. I said, oh my God, I'm going to get fired. Little did I know why he's calling me. I go there, he says, you better sit down, because when I tell you, you'd want to sit down. Then he got up and he shook my hands. Congratulations, you have a reward from Ford Motor Company. You get $6,000 and a car. Remember what Sai Baba said, okay? But because now the engineers got jealous that my suggestion was taken and their suggestion was turned down. So they were fighting against the company. He said, yeah, but this is not a good suggestion. But my suggestion, the suggestion that the engineers put, it needed 3 people. And I said, you won't need 3 people. And it's just not that I'm trying to cut down jobs, but the point is, this is supposed to be running automatic according to the engineers, and it's not. It's breaking down every 18 seconds. I have a suggestion. You will not need anybody. All the worker does is drop the parts and they'll go up automatically. So they were very happy, but because of politics, they gave me only $3,000. But still, that was for 2 tickets to India. And we went there. And first day, we're going to Sai Baba's ashram. And my wife is very strong. Like she can scare anybody. So the driver, Sai Baba's Mercedes overtakes our bus. And she tells the driver, overtake that car. And the driver was scared, he overtook. And then he blocked his car, and she ran to Sai Baba's car. And then immediately Sai Baba got down and said, hey, no discipline. So she started running to me and crying, and she said, first darshan, and he's giving me hell. And I said, well, what do you expect? Tell him to overtake the car, block him, and then you run to him. He likes discipline. But then he was very kind to my wife. The next day he manifested sacred ash to her and said, wife here when I'm here. You see? And my wife is a very, very spiritual being. It still is, and probably she doesn't know it, but she's a very evolved soul, Because like I told you, when she left, I was praying to Lahari Mahashai. Lahari Mahashai ji, she has taken Kriya Yoga. Don't let her give it up. It's the key that will redeem her. So Lahiri Mahasaya manifested, and he was on a 40-foot wooden structure. And Zareen, my wife, is down there with my son. And I was down here, and he looks at me, Lahiri Mahasaya. You know, he had that robe, and his eyes were in eternity. He smiles to me, and he points to it and says, she doesn't want to come to me. I promise you, she'll come to me one day. So I'm confident that already she's an evolved soul. We are all evolved, right? But we have forgotten because we are identified with our bodies and our roles. Imagine if we were to remember all our roles, right? It would be complicated. It's just a role. So that way, Sai Baba showed my wife, and now she's singing bhajans, chanting Baba's. She participates in study circle because she knew Baba's power. End of the month, your husband will get a reward, and the reward was there. You see?
Mm-hmm.
Now, there was a European guy. He was on crutches. He was like that. You know, he couldn't even walk, but he had his crutches. He would walk with the polio bells. Sitting next to me, he's sitting here, and I'm here. No, I'm here and he's here. Sai Baba comes and looks at me, smiles, and then looks at him. Get up. The guy is scared. Get up! So he staggers and he tries to take his crutches. Drop the crutches, get up! And he walks up, he's jumping like a kangaroo. He's healed completely. And he went into the interview room. When he came out, he was healed. 2 years later, when I went back, he was completely healed. This is the power of God in human form, you see. And Sai Baba often talked of Paramahamsa Yogananda. And he said that such a being rarely comes on earth. And not only that, he used to tell his students, sing Yogananda chant, sing Yogananda chant. Students would sing, Door of My Heart Open, which Sai Baba liked. And also listen, listen, listen to my heart song. He loved that. There was a couple who were Kriya Bans who had an interview once. And Baba was still outside, and they were the only people in the interview. And Sai Baba came inside and he was singing Yogananda chant and listen, listen, listen to my heart song. And they were flabbergasted, you know. Because all, like Yogacharya would tell us, all masters are united in God, that only the disciples are confused. So if you love Yogacharya, right? And if you see Yogacharya, you see Yogacharya and Sai Baba, you see Yogacharya and Yogananda, you see Yogananda and Yogacharya, you see Yogananda in your wife, you see Yogananda in your friends, even in your bosses that are mean to you. Because there's no second entity, Yogacharya would say that. Only God exists. And he became all creation. He was spirit. And the spirit needed an object to love. But only he existed as formless existence. He's the subject. So he manifested into a grosser vibration and became the Om or the Amen of the Christians. And became the Holy Ghost and the earth. But it was inert, so he placed himself in all creation, and all creation came to life. But it's he only that has become all creation. Yogananda's teachings, our body is energy, and that energy is God, and our true essence is God. Once you realize that, you've transcended delusion. This is his play. You'll go through hell, but you'll still be in heaven. So, yeah. So in one interview, like Sai Baba asked my wife, what do you want? And she is so sweet. She said, Sai Baba, I want to be like Sita. You know, my wife, I'll show you her picture. She's very beautiful. And she said, I want to be like Sita. Sai Baba touched his hand and he pushed her. I'll make you a Sita. She's already a goddess. She's already a Sita. Whenever I see her, even now, I see only goddess in her. And so then he said to her, have a son. She said, no, Sai Baba, I have only one girl, enough problems, no more. Then he looked at me and he said, what did she tell you 5 years ago in the delivery room when I gave her a daughter? Didn't she say, I wish I had a boy? And she was shocked. How does he know? I said, yes, Swami. Now I'm saying have a son. And she's saying no. So I turned to her and I said, Zareen, he's God. We should have a son. Don't worry, Sai Baba, we'll have a son for you. Then he looked at me, he said, what do you want? And I had read Yogananda's books. And in that Yogananda says, Jivan Mukti is what you should desire for. Meaning, if you come again and again, be like a fisher of souls, right? You will be in the world, but the world will not touch you. So I thought that would be great. I just chant, meditate, and he got very angry. So, and he wouldn't talk. I touched his knee. I thought he said, what do I want? Will you give me Jivan Mukti? Still angry for 45 seconds. I said, Sai Baba, you said, ask me what I want. I'm asking for Jivan Mukti. Will you give me Jivan Mukti, Baba? I had the guts to ask him. Then he touched my chest. He says, do your duty and I'll free you in this life. But he doesn't tell you what your duty is. The interview is over. So I started mopping my kitchen and my wife says, get out of here. That's not your job. So I thought, that's not my duty. I come to Canada, I do work at Ford's, I help other people, and those guys called the union on me, he's doing my job. I said, okay, that's not my duty. Because he doesn't tell you what your duty is. In case that's my duty, I want to be free. So it's like a trial and error. What is your duty? It took me 10 years to realize, through deep, intensive meditation, that my duty is help ever, hurt never. And Yogacharya, after my divorce, told me, do you know why you broke up? I said, no. He says, because you tried to take away her free will. And I got angry. I said, Yogacharya, how did I take her free will away? He says, because you would tell her not to eat this, not to eat that, that's junk food. She has free will to eat junk food. Who are you to tell her? I said, but then it'll hurt her. Yeah, and then it'll hurt you. I said, but isn't it right to protect your wife? He says, you're not going to protect your wife. God does that. Never give wisdom to your wife, he said. Then he says, would you throw food to a stray dog? He's going to bite you. So then I said, what should I have done? When you know a person doesn't listen to you, he says, feed them ignorance. Tell them it's very good. You should have bought 2 20-pound bags of potatoes, cut them, fry them, and give her French fries she liked. But you said fried food's no good. And you were taking away her free will. If you would have done that, she would have loved you. Now she hates your guts. This is how Yogacharya talked. I said, but why are you telling me now? It's like salt to my injury. Why didn't you tell me before? He said, we're not supposed to. So you see, this is what life is all about.
It would have ruined the story.
Yeah.
It's way better. Give them ignorance. I love that. That's so good.
Once I was with Yogacharya, and Yogacharya was praising Sai Baba. And and one disciple, he's supposed to be on Yogananda path, but later on Yogacharya said, no, he's not on a Yogananda path. He goes here, he goes there, to this guru, that guru. And he got mad at Yogacharya. He said, Yogacharya, you should be ashamed of yourself. You're a disciple of Paramahamsa Yogananda and you're praising Sai Baba. So Yogacharya, just like Billy Jack, that movie, he got up and he wiped his face. And he got up and he says, why don't you shut up, sit down, or get out of my ashram, Yogacharya told the guy. And he left, he never came back. And Yogacharya says, these people, They don't know ABC of spirituality. All masters are united in God. Only the disciples are confused. And then he pointed to me. He's a Kriyaban. He loves Yogananda. He's a devotee of Sai Baba. All masters are united in God. I used to pray when I used to be with Sai Baba. I used to pray Sai Baba. Oh, I don't want to just chant bhajans and sing chants or go to retreats, and I want a concrete experience with God. I want to have a technique. And I was praying like that. So what happened was, when my father died, my body was paralyzed. I couldn't walk. So I was praying to, Sai Baba, please, I need somebody who's a God-realized master. Please help me, I can't even walk. So somebody had given me an autobiography of a yogi, okay? And these were Sai Baba's surgeon and heart specialist people. And they had given me a book, read it. And I said, but how could you ask me to read a Yogananda book? Isn't it wrong? You're with Sai Baba. I did the same thing that guy did, you see? And then the surgeon looked at me and said, just read it. Like that he told me. But I couldn't read it for 4 years. Somehow I would get stuck. It was not for me, I thought. So when my father died, I was praying to Sai Baba. And somebody told me that in Detroit there's a man who has come, he's God realized, and he's only 24 years old. And I said, that's the guy Sai Baba wants me to see, I'll be healed. So I told my wife, put me in the car, and I couldn't even walk. He said, put the crutches there, put me in the walk. I'll start the car, I'll go. And I told one of the friends of that guy, I will come at 9 o'clock to Ann Arbor, and I want to, I'll have my 4 flashes on, and then I can talk to him. So I went there, I was in pain, but I went there. My wife was very mad. She says, you crazy, you're going there? You can't, what if the custom officer tells you to get out? Are you going to say, help me with the crutches? But I never thought of that. I just drove. 9 o'clock I was there. He came down, he saw my 4 flashes. And in those days we didn't have power windows, so he came to my window and I rolled the window down. I leaned, And he says, what is your problem? I said, my father died and I'm paralyzed. And he looked at me and said, how many fathers are you going to cry for? I said, that's very audacious of you. Why would you say that? I came all the way and I didn't expect this from you. If somebody said you're God realized, but I don't think you are. He says, son, and he's 24 and I'm 40. Son, he said, it's not like this. These are only roles, son, father, wife, husband. Just play your part. I'm not trying to discourage you. It's okay, you can cry, but not so much so that you paralyze your body. Now, where are you? You cannot even walk now. Is it fair? Then it made sense. Then he said, open your glove compartment. I said, why? You have a book there. Open it. He knew it. Autobiography of you. He took it in his hand. He says, read it. And immediately I saw in his eyes sparkle. I said, my God, this guy is no ordinary. I said, sorry, sir, I will read it. And he blessed me, 24-year-old boy. And then we drove. You have to go, be at 6 o'clock? Yeah, still only 5. Half an hour, okay? I have to take her somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, so what happened was, I drove back. Customs never stopped me, but my wife sleeping. Naturally, now how am I going to get out? So I honk, and then she comes out. And then I said, I'm going to read this book. And she put me in the shower, and she was very kind. My wife was very kind. And then I started reading the book. It was 12:30. About 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, I was in another dimension. I was sitting with the Himalayan yogis in a yoga lotus posture. All the masters were sitting there. But my body was not solid. It was jelly-like. It was like specks of light you see on television. Mm-hmm. You're not solid. And I'm scared because I'm used to being solid. But then I saw that the trees were not solid, the ground was not solid, the yogi masters were not solid. First I was scared, but then I looked. Yogananda was sitting there on a throne. And he said, come. And as he said, come, I got up. The whole universe sounded Om, vibrated. As it vibrated, I went straight to the master. And I bowed down, I knelt. As I knelt down, he touched me and I felt, wake up, my darling. Wake up, my darling. Wake up, my darling. I was in bliss. And then I found myself in my bed. My wife was waking me up. Wake up, Jimmy. I'm going to work. Wake up, Jimmy. I said, why did you wake me up? I was with Yogananda. He said, but how do I know? She said. And then she went to work because obviously I couldn't work. 14 months I was paralyzed. So immediately I called Mother Center at 7 o'clock. And a feeble voice said, can you call in the morning? I said, it is morning. He said, not in California, it's 4 o'clock. Then I realized. So then I calculate 12:30 I called. And he said, yes, how can I help? I said, I saw the master, I want the Kriya Yoga. He says, you can't have it. Have you taken the lessons? No, I've read the book and I had this experience with it. Oh, no. You have to take the lessons and then if you want, you can go to Detroit Institute of Arts across the border. There's a self-realization fellowship at the Detroit Institute of Arts. They will help you. Okay, so I went there. And as I went there, there was beautiful people, good souls. Yogacharya attracted, Yogananda's disciples are not Yogacharya. He never considered like they are my disciples. But he always said, Master is the Guru. But people had reverence, and sometimes some people would misunderstand. Hey, how come your Yogacharya's picture is big and Yogananda's picture is small? Because they have shallow minds, It doesn't depend on the size, Master Yogananda, everybody knows the Guru. And Yogacharya was touched by his Guru. So just like other disciples, Eugene Davis Roy and Kriyananda and all, right? They love Yogananda. So, what was my train of thought? Yeah. Self-realization fellowship said, go to them. So when I went there, then they told me about Yogacharya Oliver Black. That's the man I'm supposed to visit. He'll heal me, I said. Where is he? He's 4 hours from Detroit. So I wrote down all the, things. Yogacharya, I'm coming for discipline. I want to be disciplined. I want to learn Kriya Yoga. I want to heal my body. Please help me. And I wrote all those things. Then I came first time. He was sitting on the other side. I was sitting on this side of the table. My wife was sitting here with my daughter. And suddenly, I was thinking, I'm in ecstasy. I'm with the master. And then suddenly he gets very mad at me. Yogacharya says, put your hands down. So I thought maybe he's telling somebody else, not me. And he said, you, where were you raised? On a farm? I said, no, India. Put your hands down. And he was very mad. And I didn't give him that letter. I said, discipline me. He was already starting to discipline me. I never gave him that. Imagine if I gave him the whole list. First audience, and he's chewing me to pieces. Yeah, ordinary people would have left. I said, I'm not leaving. I know he's a master yoga. Sai Baba sent me to him. I'm going there. So then, after the dinner, he's still angry, but my wife gets up, picks up all the dishes. I said, let me make up with Yogacharya. As soon as I pick up the dish, he says, sit down, you're not a waitress. He doesn't tell anything to her. I said, so this has to be a test. So I sat down and I just did pranams to him. So then he went and sat where the exit of the dining room is before he goes up to his boathouse. He was sitting there in a chair. So I passed him by and I did pranam and he went like that to me. Means I passed the test. Then he said, what brought you here? So Sai Baba had to send you here, huh? He said. I said, yes. He said, don't worry, you will walk next week. And he told me, go and see Nirmala. There was a lady there who was taking care of the clerical duties. And he said, she'll help you. You have a lot of toxic poison. He touched me. He says, next week you'll walk. So Nirmala showed me the formula. Now, 2 level teaspoons in a tall glass of warm water, put salt in it, and take it. Boy, that works like magic, but you must be very close to a washroom. Otherwise, a lot of times I was very far. I took it, by mistake, and I'm supposed to take I-75, and there was a traffic jam. I had to go to the washroom. So guess what I did? I left my car there, and I walked to the nearest McDonald's, and there, and by the time I came back, the traffic had moved only 1 car length. There was a traffic. I was praying to him, you put me on salt water now. How am I gonna, solve this problem? But then I could drive. But next week I was walking. That is the power Yogacharya had. And then one time I had gone to the Song of the Morning ranch, and I was supposed to leave with my wife and all. And as I was supposed to leave, suddenly he said to me, so you're where are you going? We're going back to Canada, but Lillian and other ladies, they want to go, Dolores and all, they want to go to the Mackinac Island. So we're going to visit Mackinac Island, and they'll come back to the ranch. So Yogacharya, I'm going to go back to Canada. He said, okay, take care. And we went. And walking on the Mackinac Island, I'm overkind sometimes. I decided, poor ladies, they're carrying bags and they have to walk. So I carried the bags of the ladies. I had a backache, muscle spasm. I couldn't go back to Canada. I told my wife, I can't go. I have to see Yogacharya. He's got to heal me. We came back. Yogacharya was already in the lodge. Meditation was about to start, and I came, did pranam. He said, I thought you left. I said, yes, I was supposed to leave, but I have a bag. I was too kind to the ladies. I think they had stones in their bags, and I hurt my back. Maybe I said rocks, and he laughed. So he said, after meditation, see me. Meditation, I was in pain, but 1 hour, after that, I went to him. Said, turn around, picked up my shirt, and he went. He says, you're okay. I go out of the lodge back to my room, and there's no pain. After that, there was no pain. This is concrete miracle, and everybody knows that when Yogananda ji first came, he stopped in Detroit at the Book Cadillac Hotel and called Yogacharya, looked into the yellow pages and said to Richard Wright, call that guy, tell him I want him here. And he said, Yogacharya said he taught me in that 1 week how to heal people, even resurrect people. And there was one instance where one lady was very critical of Yogacharya, Oliver Black. And she said, I don't care, he's a fake. And she used to come to Detroit Institute of Arts. I don't know what her name was. But anyways, so then she said, why don't you take me to him? I'll expose him. I said, I'll take you to him. But, he's a master. He said, I don't believe that. So she came with me. And now she was sitting opposite Yogacharya, where I had that axe. I said, oh, she's going to get it. But no. He didn't do anything to her. He was very nice to her. And then she was looking at him, and she was shocked like that. Later on, she told me, I said, why were you shocked? Oh, you're not going to believe this. I saw smoke come out of the dining hall from the lake, that Pigeon River, into the dining hall, and it went over Yogacharya, and it came near Yogacharya, became a woman and kissed Yogacharya. Yogacharya blessed her, and she became smoke and went out of the dining room through the Pigeon River. Went away. So she said, maybe it was hallucination. So after after the dinner, when Yogacharya was free, she says, Yogacharya, that smoke I saw on that lady that kissed you, Yogacharya didn't let her finish anything. Yeah, that was that lady, yeah. She left her body and so she wanted to bid me goodbye. You were meant to have that experience. She was flabbergasted. So we went back to Canada. She was in the States. She called me, I want to go next week. I said, next week I can't go. There's a big storm. I don't care. I said, but you don't drive. He says, I drive on the streets, but I've never driven on the highway, but I'm going to see him. She went. She told us later. She came very close to Vanderbilt, Michigan, and there's a bridge, one exit before Vanderbilt, big bridge. And it was a whiteout. So she says, Yogacharya, if you are what you are, then guide me to your ranch. I cannot drive anymore. I can't see the lanes. So suddenly she saw Yogacharya from the belly up to the sky and said, take the next exit. And the next exit was covered with snow, but just she could see the arrow. So she just took the tracks, followed the tracks all the way, and she reached. As soon as she went for meditation, Yogacharya said, so I had to save you again, huh? She was taken completely. So I'll tell you two more experiences then.
Okay, great. Love it. Love it.
Yeah. So once when we were in Puttaparthi with Sai Baba's ashram, see, I'm telling you Sai Baba, Yogananda, Yogacharya, all that because they've been part of my life, right? Mm-hmm. All masters are united in God. So when I was in Yogananda, Sai Baba's ashram, an interview was over, and that suddenly people pointed to me that this guy is you. Baba told in the interview you were Yogananda in your last life. And he was a tall, handsome, just like Jesus he looked. 6 feet 4 inches, brown, brunette type hair, just like Jesus' beard. And he would sit and meditate in Bangalore, Whitefield, just 6 hours. And so then I said, I want to know if he's master, you know. So wherever he would go, I would follow him. He went to dining room. So I sat opposite him. So he's eating. So whenever he's going down, I would look at him, you know, stare at him. And whenever he came up, I'd start pretending to. So one time he saw that I was doing that. So he went down and he looked and he smiled at me. And I said, that has to be my master, you know, because he looked so much like Jesus, you see. And he was born in Greece. So, but it was amazing. His stature was so yogic-like. And people who came from the interview told me that Sai Baba told everybody he was Yogananda in last life, you see. So that way. And then when I was in Sai Baba's ashram, once my daughter got bit by an insect and her whole body was filled with big bumps. Whole night she didn't sleep. So we went to the doctor and the doctor said, I can't do anything, okay, just take this cream, but it didn't help. So she had not slept, my daughter nor my wife had slept, nor I had. So Sai Baba called my wife in with the daughter. And that time he didn't take me in, he just took them and my mother. And he told me, he says, I've already seen you. I don't have room in the interview room. Is it okay if you go back? And I said, Sai Baba, you can't send me back. People will think I'm a reject. He said, but I don't think like that. I said, yeah, but how can I go? How about I stand on one foot? He said, no, please, I've given you so much. And I said, okay, this is for you. And I gave him that cloth. So he says, I'm blessing it. Put it in your meditation room. I have it. I'll be with you, in you, around you. I'll protect you. I went back. So when he goes into the interview, he says to my wife, see how he's pretending? Where's your husband? She starts crying. You sent him out. So he's mimicking her. Oh, I sent him out. Don't worry. I'll give him a ring. He'll be very happy. She told me that later. But then he said, what's wrong with your daughter? She's got an insect bite. And so he said, bring her here. And she got up. He picked up her dress, he put his hand, and he put it back. She's okay now. Came out of the interview room and all the hives are gone. And the doctor is among the disciples and says, my wife, she's tough, right? She says, look, I came to you for medicine, you couldn't do anything, and Sai Baba instantly touched it. Yeah, but he's God, I'm just a doctor. So this is how.
Oh my goodness.
And then in one interview, Sai Baba said to me, your father doesn't want to come and see me here. My father was in Canada with me because my sister had died, they were looking after me. I said, Sai Baba, it's not like that. They don't have the money, otherwise they would come. I will send the money, next year they will come. So I said, okay, Sai Baba, then they'll come. So when I went back, I told my father, Sai Baba is going to send you money, you'll go and see him. Exactly 8 months later, they get a check for $3,000 from the government of Canada. You haven't claimed this money because you've been in Canada, you are entitled to family benefits. So the first check was $3,000, 2 tickets, and every month they were supposed to get $1,200 after that. See how Sai Baba took care of them. You see? So my father had umbilical hernia, this big, and the doctors in Canada said no surgery, otherwise he'll die. So he would sit on a chair and Baba would come and touch him every time. Very good man, very good man. So yes, Sai Baba, I have umbilical hernia, please help. He said, don't worry, I'll take care of you. When he comes back to Canada, in 3 months he dies. All my relatives taunt me because as it is, they didn't believe much in Baba. And they said, look, he said he was going to take care of him and he died. Now, Sai Baba told us have a son, right? Okay, and within 3 months, my father dies, but a psychic had come to when my father died, and she said, is your wife pregnant? Baba told us to have a son, right? I said, how do you know? Did my wife tell you? She said, no, don't be silly. I'm asking you, is your wife pregnant? I said, why are you asking me that? Then I asked my wife, did you tell her? No. I asked my mom, did you tell her? Because they were in the interview. No. Then she says, you don't believe me. Your father just told me, tell Jimmy not to cry. I have placed myself in his wife's womb. Tell him not to cry. I'm coming as his son. So now, after some times, the women, they get itching and they don't want to sleep with the husband. She says, I can't sleep with you. I'm sleeping in the other room. Okay. And then I slept in this room. It was middle of the night, and I was in another dimension. Suddenly I heard my father, Jimmy, come over here. And it was coming from where my wife was sleeping. And I was scared. I said, no, I buried him. I'm not going there. And I had to go to the washroom. But I said, no, I'm not going there. 15 minutes he called me, Jimmy, come over here. And it's my father's voice. After 20 minutes, I had to go to the washroom. So I didn't go to the room. I just go to the washroom, shut the door, and I was about to sit on the seat. And the door opened. Bang! And guess who it was? It was my wife. She was pregnant with a child. And she hugs me. I had an urge to hug you. I said, go away from here. You were in that room. She said, no, I can't leave you. I said, let me finish the job, for God's sakes. And then we came and we slept and I hugged her. And I tell you this is the truth. Nobody is going to believe this, but if you tell people this experience, suddenly my wife's arms became like my father's, the clutch, everything. She became my father. See, the child was in the womb. And I said, Dad, is that you? And he started laughing. Of course it's me. Who do you think? I'm an old man. Ha ha ha. And I said, let me go. He said, I'm not going to let you go. I've come back from the other world. And then I saw him standing near me. And he says, remember Baba said, I'll take care of you? And he picked up his robe. It was not earthly, divine robe. And there was a mark. He says, in the other world, it's just same like here. Sai Baba made instruments, astral instruments, laid me down. And he cut me, took it out, and he created vibhuti, put it on. And he said, just stay there. You'll be well in no time. And then when I got up, there was just a mark and there was nothing. And he said, this will never come back to you. And he told him, he says, Baba sent me back. He said, I'm coming as your son. And so he says, on earth it's all grab, grab, grab. But son, here it's so beautiful. If I tell you, you'd say, I want to die now. But don't do anything like that. Do your duty and then earn the divine pension I'm enjoying now. This life is so beautiful. And his body form started becoming ethereal. I had held it, his feet, and it became like smoke. And I said, Father, don't go, please. And all I heard was, foolish man, eye never dies. And I woke up again. My wife was there. My father had died with jaundice when my son was born. He was born with jaundice. When my son was born, I called the psychic. She was in Toronto. I was in Windsor. Picked up the phone. She picked up. He said, don't tell me anything. I just saw your father. He was coming out of your wife's womb. And that's why you called me. I said, yes. So even when my son was a teenager, I would tell him, Cyrus, I want you home by 9 o'clock. Then he would say, Dad, you know who I am. I'm your dad. How do you tell a son like that? And he's a very spiritual man now, my son. He's never had one argument with me. I just wanted to share these experiences with you. If I read all the experiences, you'd be here till 4 in the morning or even later. But whatever I could, I shared with you.
We'll have to save some
because I have to drive her back.
Yeah.
That's why.
Of course. Well, thank you so much. That was great hearing all of those stories.
I'm so happy. See, I feel you're also a very spiritual force. When I look at your videos, I say, my God, this if the animals and the birds and the bees love him so much, he must be loved by God. In you, he is most pleased. Otherwise, he wouldn't come to you as a bird, right?
Yeah.
Or an animal. Because even my father had a dog. He loved him very much. His name was Jimmy. And when he died, he wouldn't eat, drink, sleep. So my mother said, don't do that. When we have a son, we'll call him Jimmy. So then he started eating and everything. And on his last day, this was his last joke. 3 hours before he passed away, he was very serious. And I said, Father, what's wrong? He said, no, I want to confess something. I said, but Father, you never behaved like that. He said, I want to tell you something. I loved you more than my pet dog, Jimmy. And I said, Dad, I never doubted you. Why are you saying that? You know what he said? Because you never barked at me. And dog, when you spell it backwards, is God.
Yeah, you're right.
And he loved me. That was his last joke, and 3 hours later he passed away. Jai Guru, Jai Sai Ram.
Jai Guru Sai Ram.